Hello, gorgeous Pisces, and welcome to October 2020 and a month that is unique. We don't work with the combination of energies we're having very often. We are in the heart of Mars retrograde all of October. We are beginning Mercury retrograde starting in Scorpio and moving into Libra in the middle of the month. We have 2 full moons. Yes, that is right. A full moon in Aries in your 2nd house and a full moon in Taurus in your 3rd house. Very communicative, talkative moons for the Piscean family at this time. It is an inventive, what I will say for Pisces is this is a really inventive month for you all, and very exploratory and a little bit surprising and a little bit revealing, I would even say, is the message that comes to mind when I feel through this month for you all. This is also just a transformative phase in the year for Pisces. Libran energy for you is very much about the process of transformation, death and transformation, the mystery, the depth of the whole experience. And we're in Libra season all the way till October 22nd. And so there's a lot of energy working with you in that zone of your life. And that means that you're getting to explore kind of behind the curtain, which is already a Piscean specialty. This is not a new area of learning for you. And of course, as we get into Scorpio season, you're going to be feeling that flow. And as energy starts moving more and more into Scorpio over the course of the month, you're going to be noticing that you're feeling a little bit more of your watery wisdom getting activated and lit up. But I would say this whole month kind of works more toward that part of yourself that maybe you don't put forward into the world all the time. You may kind of keep it for yourself or your close friends. Some of you maybe have made peace with it and bring it out into the world more. You're going to be relying more on that aspect of yourself, because one of the big things about October is when you have Mars and Mercury both retrograde, that whole concept of like having a project and making it happen and having point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it just doesn't work that way, right? It kind of works. It works in that much more mysterious, circular way where we go around, we visit things, we have a lot of deja vu, we see all the connective points, we see the world as it breathes and not as it is in a tight, linear, squared fashion, right? That's what this month is all about. That message keeps coming to me very clearly. It's very obvious to me. The other theme that came up when I thought and I tapped into Piscean energy, which is one of my favorite places to go, quite honestly, I love being in Piscean energy. I'm not a Pisces. People often think that I am. Thank you very much. And I don't have any planets in Pisces, actually. But I love this energy. And one of the images that came to mind as I took the time to enjoy being in the Piscean flow was something that, it's an image that I've worked with for many years and it doesn't always come up, and it did come up for you, which is digging in the midnight garden. And this is about, it's a very magical gardening metaphor. It's being in a moonlit night or maybe even in a new moon night and you're digging in the soil. You are feeling the ingredients in the soil. You're feeling the richness and the darkness from the earth and from the underneath. And in the digging in that garden, you dig up maybe parts of yourself that you forgot, or that you want to come back home to, or that you need to grieve over, or that you want to reconnect to. And you explore within the magic of that deep, exploratory, creative, and transformative space. And you know, sometimes we think like we have to just surrender to transformation and it just happens to us and we have to just accept it. when I think about digging in the Midnight Garden and that theme comes up for me, what I feel and what I see when that happens is this is a very interactive, very conversational form of transformation where we get to come home to ourselves and reacquaint ourselves with all the aspects of ourselves, and to notice where it's like, oh, that's okay to let go and disintegrate, and ooh, this is something that I have ignored in myself, a creative part of myself, a expressive part of myself, a curious part of myself that I want to bring back to life. And that's where that creativity is so strong for you this month. I also like it because Venus is going to be moving through Virgo this month, and I am all about that transit. The world. Yes. Yes. Totally see that for Pisces. Venus in Virgo. Yes, this is some beautiful energy. It highlights relationships. It's great for you feeling connective. These full moons are going to be so brilliant for you. 2 cards wanted to come out. Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords. Okay, lots of clarity here. Lots of crisp clarity, actually. There's no beating around the bush here, my friends. And 4 of Wands. Oh, Pisces. This is a really adventurous month. Like I said, this is a conversational form of transformation. It's an interactive, it's creative, it's exploratory. It's not about sitting down and meditating your way out of a sticky situation. Like I said, the more you follow into your watery intuitive knowing, the more you follow those impulses, the more you let yourself check in with yourself, the more this month is going to flow for you. Now, what's interesting about these cards, they're quite supportive of you. They give you a lot of clarity. They give you a lot of forward motion. They break open some really big understandings and possibly even practical barriers between you and wherever it is you want to go next. That is so true. I've kind of lost my train of thought here. It brings you that clarity. However, once again, it's not by looking for the linear narrative, right? It's not going to be the most useful place to look for that in this particular month. So, the world. I love the world, right? This is about understanding, completing something, right? It's about something coming to its full fruition, its full rotation, its full message, completions, right? And it's that kind of sense of if you've climbed up a mountain, which I love doing personally, and you're standing on it and you're looking out, you kind of see where you came from. You understand where you are in the context of the geography around you. And you're like, okay, yeah, I see there. Now, I love the world. Obviously, this is one of my favorite cards. It does come with transformation, right? Because this means that you're at the end of a big cycle and it is concluding. And that means that whatever you've gained from this cycle, whatever you've gained from this understanding, you don't need to necessarily carry all the bits and bobs and pieces with you. There are going to be certain things that you've learned or understood, and now it's time to just gracefully let it go. On the other hand, it can also be a time of understanding what you've mastered and taking that with you. So it's both, right? It's not, we don't need to be burning our entire selves to the ground every time. We often just need to recognize what is okay to say, oh, okay. So something's completing for Pisces, which, this is a really good time for reflection and integration and understanding of where you've come from and how much you've grown over the last couple of years, and to be okay with it and to move forward. And I'll just say this for the next, October and November, we are just doing a lot of this wrapping up and closing out and taking a final breath over everything we've learned for the last 2 to 3 years. Now, that's not the end of your story though, right? That's just phase 1. Next phase, clarity. Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords. Now, swords, this has a lot to do with communication. And we all know this Mercury retrograde's coming. It's moving through a tender part of the sky, Scorpio and Libra. These are very honest energies, right? Kind of don't beat around the bush, don't really avoid just getting to the chase, sometimes to a fault, right? Where sometimes we don't need to say everything we think. Sometimes we don't need to prod or poke people and make boundaries that clear. However, I don't think that's really the issue here. I think what's coming up for me when I see these conversations is that if you have been wondering where you stand with something, if you've been wondering where you stand with something inside of yourself, inside of a relationship, inside of a situation, if you have felt foggy or slow or like you couldn't quite land on the thing, right? The answer, the knowing. Maybe you were waiting for that moment of click. These cards tell me that this month you're going to get a lot of that click, that knowing. It's like the knowing is such a specific thing, and I think with big things, we don't get those big moments of click 100 times a day. They come in very specific moments, and they're bigger than us. You know, we kind of can't put them on a sheet of paper and list out why and how and why it makes sense and why it's a good idea. We just know, right? We just know in our bones, okay, I know. So for me, this is like a fog clearing. And I do find that this unknowing, this aha, requires you to use your Piscean intuitive inner eye, right? It's going to require you to not take on the shame and the confusion and the guilt that comes around trusting into that intuitive wisdom and that resting wisdom. Because, you know, I think especially if you're extra sensitive in the world and you get told over and over again, that's not a real thing, you're not really contributing something, maybe you should stop doing that. You start to kind of, even if you don't really fundamentally believe it, there's a part of you that stops it and kind of says, okay, yeah, maybe you're right, I'll just try and do it this other way. This is a great month to let yourself go to that aha moment, because here's the thing. These clickings, these understanding, these knowings are leading to the Four of Wands, which is another card of culmination, actually. Four in tarot is all about coming to an understanding, a resting point where you can look around once again and say, this is where I am. And Four of Wands is a celebratory one, right? This is just about like the good times of just getting to celebrate in life. You know, when you've completed a big project, when you've landed a new job, when you've just gotten married, when you've anything. It can be even small things, you know, when you learned how to cook a new dish. I mean, it can be just simple things like when you notice that you're having slightly more positive thoughts toward yourself than negative. That is a Four of Wands moment, right? But there's something really happy coming out of this aha, out of this moment of click, out of this moment of like total utter clarity. And maybe it does come from an important conversation. Maybe it does come from somebody poking at you or calling you or sending you an email. Maybe it comes from you sending an email. Maybe it comes from you just sitting quietly and feeling feeling that sword point say right in your solar plexus and saying, see right there. Whatever it is, wow, you are being asked to come right up out of that digging in the midnight garden into a completely new phase of your life. And, you know, these things come in waves. I always find, you know, we sometimes think, I mean, transformation is constant in life. There's always more. But, you know, we do go through longer trends in our lives, you know, a 2 or 3 or 4 year cycle, sometimes an 8 or 9 year cycle. And when we're kind of shifting between them, the shift points are their own cycles, which can be a year or 2 or 3. When we're in the shift cycle, we think maybe there's going to be like one aha month where everything changes. And sometimes that does happen. Also, what happens is you'll have a wave of change. You'll have a wave of aha. Things will move a little bit and you'll be like, whoa, and then it'll come again. And this month is kind of, I mean, I think depending on who you are, it could be a giant, lots is moving. Or it could be one of those moments where it's a wave that keeps you moving in the right direction. What I do notice here, though, is that you are going to know when you are in the right direction. And you are going to know when you are paddling upstream, when you're trying to change the compass point to point somewhere else and it's not working and you're trying to pull away, you'll know when you feel that too. The truth is going to be with you, within you, working from deep within you, and not just as something that is external coming at you, but as something that is coming from inside. So I have just a few affirmations to go along with this exciting adventure that I'm seeing for Pisces. I'm like, I'll be writing with the Piscean energy this month and seeing how it rolls out, because I am very curious to see what comes. Here we go. There is enough time to become. I am loved in the transformation, and I am loved after the transformation. I trust my inner calling to show me the way. And that inner calling isn't always going to be big stuff, right? That's one of the, rule number one about inner calling, inner knowing, intuition, nudges, law of attraction, all those different things, is that it starts off with small nudges, really small nudges. And sometimes those nudges become quite big. But yeah, it doesn't always have to be about burning down the world, right? I am sending you so much love. If you're looking for more support this October, I'm going to be right there with you on Patreon. We're going to be doing a lot of materials for Mars and Mercury retrograde, and also just getting prepped, because like I said, we have 2.5 more months of Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn. And they are going to be getting very close to each other in December, meeting and moving into Aquarius and meeting in Aquarius on the solstice in December. So the next few months are important for just getting prepared, getting in alignment, being really good at perceiving and witnessing yourself and your process. So if you're looking for support, I'd love to help you. Patreon's a great little community of beautiful souls. I'd love to see you over there. You can also find me on Instagram and on my website. I'll leave all of those links below, as well as PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. My girl is always making beautiful new things, so you can go check her out as well. I love you so much, Pisces, and I will see you in November for more adventure in Scorpio season.